Grand Rising, everyone. I'm going to be having a talk with you all, so if you want to get relaxed, you can. This message is going to be for whoever comes in that finds this video. It's going to be a very, sounds like delusional video, but it's really not. Everything that I say is very factual. Okay, this is something that has occurred in my life. It's very true, and once it is investigated, everything that I bring up, you will find it to be true. And then it may take a little while for as far as getting the physical proof for law enforcement, but this will tie up some strings for something that you didn't know about in relation to a murder that occurred in 1993 of December. This murder that I am mentioning, this is a murder that's connected to my father, Keith Graham. Okay, so I'm going to be starting right now to tell you guys, as some of you may know, if you're on my page, if you just found this video by browsing and you don't know who the hell I am, okay, I am a psychic medium, I am a seer, I am a divine messenger, I am a reincarnated messenger that is meant to come here to break a lot of things that have barriers and a lot of things that has been placed out into the universe, especially lies, to expose them. Put in my life at risk, definitely in my children's, which I have been, by speaking the truth. Okay, so I am going to be telling you guys some downloads that I got. All right, and a lot of the readers as well has been channeling my life and has been speaking on a lot of events that happened in my life and tying up some strings as well that I already knew intuitively. So I got a download, and this is not from anyone else. This is from my father and my grandmother. Okay, my biological karmic mother, her name is Joyce. Okay, she ended up in 1993, my father was killed. He was murdered. He was shot 20 times before, or 19 times before he was killed. He was at my mom's house. He was at Joyce's house. I won't call her my mom because she's not my mom. She's never been, truthfully. And that's not for me to throw shots. It's just I never had a relationship with her. I never felt connected to her. I never felt any motherly anything. Anytime I gave her a hug, it felt ingenuine, or I didn't feel any emotions there. I didn't feel, the way I feel when I give my kids a hug. And I know the love is mutual. But anyway, I've even felt more genuine love from strangers than I've ever felt. I never felt any emotions from this woman. But that's besides the point. So my father, he was in a life. He used to be a drug dealer. Definitely was something that a lot of you will say, well, that's what put his life at risk. That's why he got shot 20 times. Okay, that could be. That's one theory, okay, but without factual proof, which they never found factual proof. They never got they never got the suspect of who was supposedly the murderer. Okay, prior to my dad being killed, he was hanging out. Okay, they don't want me to say this, okay? I have heavy magic on me, and it's hard for me to express what I'm trying to say. I know exactly what I'm trying to say, so bear with me, but my throat chakra is messing up, okay? But I'm still going to get it out, so just bear with me. And if you take the time to really listen to it, for those of you who do or care and are interested in knowing or just want to see how real stuff can be, and how even though you may not experience and it may not be real for you because you've yet to experience it, it doesn't mean that it's not real and it's not factual or it's not true or it can't occur or it can't happen to you for that matter just because it happened to me. So I'm just making it aware because there may be more stories out there similar to mine than a lot of people may know. But anyways, so she was hanging out with my father. She made him dinner. This is a story she told me herself and my siblings when we were younger. excuse me, he was hanging out with her. Mind you, they were broken up, okay? They were separated. He had another girlfriend named Phyllis, okay? This woman was the total opposite of my mom, or my karmic mom. She was dark skinned, she was heavyweight. Well, let her tell it, she was heavyweight and big and fat. But I really don't feel like that now that I understand, and I'm an older woman, that a lot of women get jealous of the opposite sex, or the same, I apologize, the same sex. And if a man is leaving her for someone else, especially if this woman feels like she's better than, or she's this entitled narcissistic woman, then she's going to feel like if she can't have them, then no one can. So she made she had 3 kids by my dad. One she had prior to him by someone else that was a one-night stand, who didn't want anything to do with her, never did have anything to do with her the whole time. And as we grew up, she didn't even know anything about this man. Yes, she used to tell us stories about him, okay, as if she knew him, but she didn't know shit about him. She had to go around and get help from his family in order for her to get this man to even be in the child's life, and he still never would. He still, his mom stepped up, because his mom was a more so righteous woman from Louisiana, or spiritual, I would say, but it wasn't her son who wanted anything to do with her, because with his mom being spiritual, he may have known and could identify who my karmic mom was. So he cut out of her life, and that was someone who was her age or a little bit older. Okay, he didn't want anything to do with her after the first night. Mind you, gave it up so easily while being in a room sleeping with your aunt and your cousins all getting pregnant at the same time. No self-respect there. You see what kind of household it was. But anyways, so why would a man want to take you serious or be in a relationship with you anyway? He already sees that you have no value to yourself. So he that one cut. The first kid's dad cut. And my dad, she got with my dad, this karmic mom, when he was 14 years old. And mind you, at this time, she's 19 or 20. Rapist, right? That's a crime. Why anyone didn't anything about it, your guess is good as mine. Possibly because my dad's mom at the time was a dope fiend, a crack addict, and heroin addict, and things of that nature. And I'm hearing prostitute. So she really didn't care too much about what was going on. She was more so fixed on getting money and supplying her high, pretty much. So and focused on the man that she was with at the time, which his name is Maurice, but focused on him at the time instead of my dad, which was her youngest son. So he was forced to fend for himself and get it out the mud, which he did. Growing up in deep East Oakland, where it's very hard to combat getting and staying out of trouble, especially staying out of the streets, especially during the era, which was at the time during the 1980s and the 1990s, where drugs was very, very big, especially in the areas where they grew up at, which was 65th Village and 69th Village in deep East Oakland, California. So anyway, so my dad, like I'm saying, now we're going back to him because I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a backlog, but please do follow me. That's the way I speak and that's the way my thoughts are, but follow me, okay? So I just wanted to show you guys, to tell you a little bit about the characteristics of how other men view you already and why they were in separation, okay? So like I said, she had met him when he was 14. She was way older. She was an adult when she met him. But most of the times, people don't look at women as a rapist, especially back then, as they do now. Compared to now, times have changed a little bit. But still, women get away with committing rape against young boys way more than men do against girls, younger girls, which is something that needs to be done. That's definitely, I can't find the word that I'm looking for to call it, as like biased in a way, but yeah. So they ended up being together that night, the last night that he was alive, but they were separated. She had convinced him to come over to hang out. My dad, I look just like my dad, or I did at the time. Over the years, I've changed my facial features a little bit, but for the most part, I do. And he was coming to see me for the most part, is what I'm hearing him say even right now. And that was the main motive, because her other kids, she had one son, my younger brother, karmic brother, who was only a few months old, who was just born. And then so he was coming to check on him too, but for the most part to hang out with me, because I like to play with him. I had an older sister, karmic sister, who really was more so drawn to my karmic mom. So he really didn't try to spend much time with her, because she would cry a lot when he would hold her. So he had an attachment to me. I was really in love with my dad. Even at 1 and 2, I would love to be with him. I was like a dad girl. And so he knew, he was worried about me, is what he's saying, when he left me. But she would never let me go with him, even though she was mistreating me. He would never let her go with me. I mean, she would never let me go with him, because he had a girlfriend, like I said, that she was jealous of. And so because she didn't like the woman, she wouldn't let him be around the kids or be around me for the most part, because I was for the most part the only one who she would allow, if she was to go with him. For one, because I looked like him and she really couldn't stand me, and the fact that he was really attached to me. They didn't really have it was more so a relationship. It wasn't a real romantic relationship. They didn't have a romantic relationship where they have a lot of memories. It was more so based off of money. It was based off of him using her, especially with her age. She already had her own apartment at that time. And so he just stepped in because she was pretty much, he was younger. He tried to talk to her because she was older, and she fell for it, but she seen what she seen in him. And so she ran all stops to make sure she secured the bag, and was with my dad up until he started realizing that she was doing magic. He found her doing magic on his food and stuff like that, and putting stuff in his food. I'm even hearing she put some menstruation in his food. That is so disgusting, but she did. And the last day that he was alive, she made him some food. But he said that he had caught her. This is what he told me recently, that he caught her putting something in his food. He didn't stay to eat the food. He told her that he had somewhere to go. Someone had called him that he had somewhere to go so that he could leave. But the whole time, he was not only trying to get out of there, so he contacted one of his family members who was also sleeping with her. I just got the chills. Okay, Dad, I'm gonna do it. So one of his family members that was also sleeping with her came supposedly to pick him up. They never did go anywhere. They never got far. He got to the front where he was supposed to be picking her up at, where he was supposed to be getting picked up at. And instead of him getting picked up, he was killed. He was gunned down. And she said back then that he had ran to her house in order for her to get help from him. But the whole time, she said that he had ran to another woman's house to get help. But my dad told me, which is why I said it like that she really ran to her house to get her to help him. And she didn't open the door for him. She watched him through the door the whole time, sit there and die. And he fell out he tried to go to another's neighbor house across the street, and that neighbor didn't open the door, but they called the police, and the police came, the ambulance came, and he was already dead on the scene before he could go anywhere. Now, how would I know any of this information? I never seen any death reports or autopsies or anything up until then. So if you can research this, any law enforcement that is curious or feels like this is alarming, please do look into it. Please do. Because I'm definitely going to be doing so as well. But aside from that, So with my, and then, so that was that situation. So that was the second body she caught. But the first one was another person. Okay. Now, when she was younger, my grandma, my auntie Jeanette had a daughter. Let me start with my auntie Jeanette. My auntie Jeanette had a daughter. Her name is Peaches. Peaches was really spoiled by my grandma. My grandma was in her 30s when she had her first grandchild. She was really happy to have a grandchild. So she would do anything for her grandchild in order to make sure that her grandchild was happy. Meaning that she'd buy her anything from the store. Whenever she goes shopping, she'd think about her grandbaby. And whenever she would always get and watch her grandbaby. Whenever her mom would go, my aunt Jeanette would go to take care of her business or just want to go and hang out, she would keep her. That's what a grandma would do anyway, right? And so she loved her a lot, a great deal. This is something she was very happy to be. A grandmother was like one of the best things that she could ever experience. Excuse me, I got it. Okay, I got this. So she would keep her and she would watch her and get her anything that she wanted. And this really bothered my karmic mom. And I know it did because she told us about it when she was older, about how she was jealous of her and how she was jealous of all the things that my grandma would do for her. And she was no longer doing them for her. Now, mind you, my karmic mom was only 10 years old. 9 years old when Peaches was born. 10 years old when my grandma passed away. She was the youngest baby, my karmic mom, for my grandma. So my grandma, one day, on the day that she passed away, now we're skipping ahead, she was in the house alone with just my mom, my karmic mom. Her big sister, Virginia, was outside playing. My grandma asked my karmic mom to make her some make her some tea so that she can sit down and watch a show, a soap opera show that she liked to watch. One in Days of Our Lives and One Life to Live is what she's saying was her favorite show. So she sat there and watched the show for a little bit. Mind you, Joyce, my karmic mom, made her tea. She found herself needing to go to the bathroom. She went to the bathroom. She passed out and hit her head on the sink. And she died right then and there. Now, I'm going to tell you that my grandma told me that after she passed over, she found out exactly how she died. And the way that she died was by iodine. Now, mind you, when I was older, Joyce would tell me stories about how if I wanted to hurt somebody, or how if she wanted to hurt somebody and get their ass back in revenge, then to put iodine in their food. This is not something I'm making up. This is something that I have connection to the spiritual realm to be able to access information and be able to talk to my passed over loved ones. So this ate her up. She would always cry. All of these things. Now, mind you, I caught her one day. I used to catch her looking in the mirror all the time. She would talk to herself. It's no wonder, though, when I was 4 or 5 years old, We lived in the projects in a village, 65th village, still around, still the same area we lived in where my dad died. Now, mind you, when my dad died, she told us a story about how he would come back. He kept coming to her. They wasn't together. He wasn't in love with her. He was coming to her because he was hunting her because he know what the fuck she did. And she know what she did. So over the years, she had this deep sorrow about my dad and my grandma being deaths. Plenty of other people died in our family. She didn't have a sorrow for, not like this. My aunt, her sister, her oldest sister Pam died. She had no sorrow for that. My aunt Jeanette recently passed away. She had no sorrow for that. She actually mocked people at her repast and talked a lot of shit about people during her repast and laughed a lot during her repast. That really did bother my aunt as well, which is what I found out last year. But that's besides the point. But anyway, so as far as mentioning my aunt, the aunt that was outside playing when they were 10 years old, she was 11. Her name is Virginia. She helped my grandma. She helped Joyce in some type of way to clean some type of evidence up. They both were jealous of Peaches. So for all of you fake ass family members who wondering, and you kind of were suspecting that Joyce had something to do with it, which is why y'all never fucked with us, y'all was right. But why didn't y'all do anything about it? Now, mind you, I know this is true, that she was playing with magic, because she would, when people are narcissists, they bust themselves out in different ways and they give you hints, right? But sometimes we be so ignorant and naive, we don't understand, right? That was the case here. But as a child, I always knew it was something evil about her because of her eyes. Now, mind you, when I was younger, there was a woman, she had a friend named Carolyn. I used to like to dance a lot. I used to be a very happy child, even though I was mistreated as a child and I didn't feel love. But I knew deep down inside I was somebody, I guess, because I was act like a little diva and a little star and just enjoy myself. And so I ended up, one second, okay? What? What? Not yet. When I'm done with my video, okay? Mia's still sleeping. When she done being sleepy, she can come in your room, okay? Here. You got it? Be careful. Come on. I apologize, you all. So, anyways, so this sister, she ended up coming in to help her, like I was saying. Oh yeah, I was mentioning how a lot of other people had passed away and she didn't feel any sorrow for them as she did about these other two deaths that I just mentioned, for as far as my dad and my grandma. It's like she was crazy because she knew exactly why they were dead. She knew exactly how they died. And she had started killing, even at 10 years old, her own mom. Now, mind you, as I was mentioning, when I was 3 years old, like I said, I was a little diva. I was really happy. I used to like to dance. I used to like to play a lot. I used to like to have a lot of fun. And we were poor, but I didn't care about any of that. I didn't even understand what that was. I just knew we had a lot of people who would always come over and party and drink and smoke inside of the house. And it would always be a party like every day. And I was really close to after my dad died. But I guess she was doing that because of him dying. Now, mind you, she had an insurance policy on my dad. She took out an insurance policy on him. She told us that he never got any, he never had an insurance policy or anything, and that when we got older, that we would get money from a family member, an aunt named Jean, who had money for us based off of him being killed and being a victim of a crime in Oakland. Which once I got older, I realized that when you're a victim of a crime, you never really get that money, especially they would not make a trust fund for kids. So she was lying the whole time, our whole life. So when we were younger, we kept expecting to get this money when we turned 18. There's never no money there. So anyway, that was the situation. Guys, this is going to be part 1. I'm going to come back with more information. I got to go help my kids, but this is very true. And please do look into this, and I'll be helping you. Bye.